Hello, dear friends. Hello again, because now we are already in the middle, even far than the middle of our cycle. Let's get acquainted. Why have I chosen such a simple, banal title? Instead of finding out something original, maybe special, I did it on purpose. Because sometimes learning difficult, complicated, sophisticated things, we forget about simple things. And we forget to get acquainted with our own self. You know, when I planned exactly this film, I had wanted to make it about freedom because it's one of my favorite topics. But thinking over it, I decided, it occurred to me that it's not time yet. It's too preliminary, that at first we should talk about something rather heavy, which I am not very eager to talk about, but we cannot avoid it. This is the topic which is called sense of guilt. Confess or ask the question to yourself. Have you ever felt, or do you feel from time to time ashamed, or do you have this feeling of guilt? Most of you answered yes. And I can reassure you that it's quite all right to feel guilt from time to time and feel shame, especially when we have the reason for that. But the problem is that very often, by the way, in most cases, our feeling of guilt, sense of guilt, can be irrational. Why is it so? Where is the root of it? Many roots of our problems, they appeared in our childhood. If, for example, you read Anna Freud, the daughter of the famous great Austrian psychologist Sigmund Freud, you can find a lot of facts, a lot of descriptions and analysis about the reaction of children, little children, to the problems in the family. And no matter what kind of family we had, but our parents were human beings. They quarreled from time to time. They had their disputes, discussions. Some parents divorced. So I am not going to enumerate all possible problems, but the core issue is that when a child faces the problem of the adults, especially of the most close people, the dearest, he takes the guilt on him, because for him it's easier to accept the fact that he is bad, he is guilty, than he is not loved. So this is the root of the most gloomy thoughts which a person can have in the future, because sometimes he even doesn't remember the situations which occurred. He just got through his life carrying this burden of this feeling of guilt, and in this way he puts himself into confinement, which is very dense, which is stuffy, and which prevents him from many possibilities he would have had otherwise. So, what is the core issue today? How this video can help you not to go too deep into psychoanalysis or psychology or any kind of training. We should know that there are two types of sense of guilt: rational and irrational. Rational, when I really have done something, I made a mistake, and because of that the other person lost something or went through inconveniences. Maybe I let him down, maybe I was late and the person was waiting for me for 15 minutes. And it wasn't a date, it wasn't an official appointment. Certainly I say sorry, I beg my pardon, or I just apologize. And it's quite natural, it's common, and it's usual for well-behaved, polite people. We don't need any supreme diplomacy to do that. But when something happens to people who we consider close friends or relatives or anybody else, and we suffer with them, it's okay. We share these feelings, yes. But we're not responsible for the problems which happened to them, because it's their life. And to share, it's a wonderful thing. But to take responsibility for somebody's fault and suffer from that and have sleepless nights, not realizing even why you are doing it, this is a crucial, not even mistake, this is limitation, biggest limitation of the potential, because all our programs are aimed at developing our potential. Sense of guilt swallows this potential. We become smaller, smaller, and smaller, and as if we live in a prison, programmed prison, and this program was induced not by ourselves. Sometimes we don't know. So, to sum it up, just after today's program, I would ask you to do the following thing. As soon as you feel some discomfort, which you cannot explain directly, and you start feeling guilt for something, so stop at it. Stop and think a little. If you really have any connection to this situation, your desire to change somebody's life, it's a normal desire. But we're not kings or gods. We cannot change anybody's life just because we want. We can show the example. We can open the door. We can invite into, but we cannot push anybody. We don't have this right. So if somebody fails, or we are not quite satisfied with the life of our relatives, parents, grandmothers, grandfathers, so it's not our guilt, because we should build up our own life no matter which prerequisites we had. We can go further, we can develop more and be more often a bit happier. Goodbye.